So this is the very first video for your review for your non-quadratic unit test. These very first 6 problems are all conversion problems, and up above them will be a table. It'll look very similar to this one. May have a couple things added or moved around for the actual test, but it'll look very similar. This very first problem says 2.7 yards, and we want it into inches. So we start with our starting value over top of 1. Okay, the only ones that start with something down on the bottom are our rates that are number 5 and 6 on here. And what we need to do from here is we just need to multiply by factors until we can get to inches. Well, what do we know about yards? We know that 1 yard is 3 feet, and that'll take us to feet, which we can then use feet into inches. Some people go ahead and just use 36 inches in a yard. If you know that to be a fact, that's fine. But when we multiply here, we've got yards up top, and so we need to cancel that out with yards on the bottom. Namely, we have to use 1 yard equals 3 feet. Our units tell us we're now in feet. Haven't done the math yet, we're just working with the units. After that, we know that we can go from feet or foot to inches. So 1 foot is 12 inches. I'm just looking at the units and I see that I'm done with the problem. Now it's just a calculator thing, okay? We go into our calculator. Sorry, mine's not working just yet. We go into our calculator and we're just multiplying straight across the top and straight across the bottom. Well, everything on the bottom is a 1, so we can just multiply the stuff up top. 2.75 times 3 times 12. That tells us it's going to be 99 inches. Okay, 99 inches. What that would be over is just a regular 1, which is just 99 inches. So there's our answer. For the second problem, we're going from milliliters to liters. That's a metric conversion. That's not up here anywhere. These are all English or English to metric conversions. What we need for that is our letters. King Henry died either by or unusually drinking chocolate milk. I know it's a weird kind of thing. It's an odd thing to remember. It seems a bit childish or anything, but hey, I've never forgotten it, and I've known it all these years. What we're just doing here is moving our decimal depending on where our letters go. We are at milliliters, and we want to go to just regular liters. Well, regular L is not up here, a regular liter, but that's because this middle part stands for unit, which is our regular meters, regular liters, regular grams. They all go inside that unit category, okay? So what we're doing in this problem is we're taking from milliliters, and we're going 1, 2, 3 steps to the left. You can either use a conversion factor or you can just move the decimal. If I have 75 with no decimal in it, my decimal is technically right there at the end. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 steps to the left and make my new decimal. Any holes you create get filled in by 0. So our answer should be 0.075 liters. And that makes sense because milliliter is a small amount and we're going to liters, which is a bigger amount. So our number should get smaller. Okay? As our unit gets bigger, our number value gets smaller. We need the same set of letters for number 3. That's 3.1 kilometers into centimeters, okay? So 3.1 kilometers into centimeters. I'll erase my last steps I had, but I still want the same letters. Kilometers is right here, and we want to go down to centimeters. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hops to the right. This one already has a pre-existing decimal. It's 3.1. And if we want to go 5 hops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hops to the right. Fill in any gaps you have by zeros. That would be my new decimal. Therefore, my answer should be 310,000 centimeters. And that makes sense too. 3.1 kilometers is a really long, far distance. If we want that into centimeters, it's going to be a whole lot of centimeters. Number 4 is where things get a little bit trickier. We're going from gallons to liters. Well, that's an English to metric conversion, so I know I'm going to need this chart up here. But I look around, I don't see gallons to liters. I see that gallons can go to quarts, but that's not liters. But then if I look up to the top of this section, I see I can connect quarts and liters. So this is where you got to get all your puzzle pieces together to get where you want to go. We can't go from gallons to liters directly, but we can go gallons to quarts, quarts to liters, and that's exactly what we have to do. So we start out with 5.5 gallons over top of 1. And we're going to multiply that by our factor of 1 gallon is 4 quarts. Remember, the units tell me where things go. I want gallons on the bottom to cancel out with gallons on the top. The number 4 and 1, that just comes directly from our conversion. So we're in quarts right now and we want liters. Well, I can use this simple conversion up here at the top to go directly there. 1 quart is 0.946 liters. Again, the units tell me what to do. I have quarts up top. I want to cancel those out and end up with liters up top. Then I just fill in the numbers. 0.946 liters is 1 quart. If I check my units, all I've got left is liters, and that's what I want. So I'm ready to type this in the calculator and get an answer. If I multiply straight across the top, I have 5.5 times 4 times 0.946. That's going to give me 20.812. For the most part, you can just round it off to 2 decimal places. If you gave me 20.812 as an answer, that's also correct. A lot of people will round that off. Don't round it to 21. Leave the decimals. Look, our problem had decimals in it, so it's okay to leave some decimal answers. That's going to be 20.812 or 0.81 liters. Now notice down on the bottom, if there's numbers down here, you have to account for those. They'll be down here and you have to eventually divide to get your final answer. But this is a 1 and a 1 and a 1, so that is my final answer because that would just be dividing by 1.